Welcome to Half a Point, the podcast that's gone 7-3 ATS 3 weeks in a row. We're absolutely on fire here at Half a Point. So if you're not following, if you're not haven't subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. You should be following our picks. This week's episode, we're going to be breaking down all of the round 11 games and giving our best five bets against the spread for round 11. To help me break it down, I am joined by my co-host, Carlton Superfan. Cars, mate, absolutely on fire. 4 in 1 week for you. How you feeling?
Yeah, good mate. I was begging for a nice week last week, and yeah, definitely got it.
So yeah, we say 4-1, but it's you went 5-0 in the pod last week. Like you gave out Gold Coast at -6.5. In our contest, it was actually -9.5. So that was actually a loss. So if you listen to the podcast and you got the -6.5 or -7.5, congrats, that's awesome. We all bet that one, but yeah, unfortunately in the contest we both went 0-1 there. But yeah, swept the rest of the field. But we'll get into all that. We'll get into everything. As a reminder, please leave a like on this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We know a bunch of you have been coming from TikTok and following our stuff, seeing us be on fire. Throw us a sub. We're almost at 100 there, so we'd really appreciate that. And also, if you haven't already, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Instagram, on X as well. We release all our picks on X before the game starts. So, yeah, you can see our official picks there as well. And also a reminder to please gamble responsibly. All right, Cass, let's jump into round 10. A really good week, as I said, for both of us. We'll start with Gold Coast and Hawthorn. They were up big, the Suns, and I thought it was on. Like I gave out those alt lines as well. We saw they dominated Darwin. Unfortunately, the 9.5 didn't cover. So this is why we always say every week, get the best of the number, shop around. A bunch of books to choose from. And you just, if you're ahead of the market, long term, you're going to win. This is one of those examples where if you got the closing line value, you probably lost there. I did say also last week it would make sense to jump on Hawthorn at double digits. I was very close there, almost handicapped it perfectly. But first time the Suns don't cover at Darwin, whether it's favourites or a dog. So bad luck, but it was profitable, but we didn't get in the contest. So I don't know how to feel about it.
Yep. Next up, we had Sydney and Carlton. So a disappointing day out for Carlton. They dominated in terms of stats. They just can't find a goal. So it was pretty disappointing up forward. Not real there's no like midfield forward connection there, which is a bit frustrating as a supporter. But yeah, I guess Sydney got the cover there.
Yeah, mate. I think last week I said I'm going to choose between Carlton and Port Adelaide as my fifth pick. They both
Yeah.
they both lost, so it wouldn't have mattered. But I think I went with Carlton in the end. It was, I guess, the better pick. But yeah, it's so disappointing, man. You guys were up until the third quarter, then find another fadeaway in the last. So
Yeah.
that's life betting this Carlton team, man. Collingwood, Adelaide, we get it by half a point. Look, man, in the contest, the line was 10.5, so we get a half a point. We gave out 12.5 last week, so that easily covered, I guess. But Adelaide was clearly the right side. They had so many missed opportunities. They should have won that game. So it would have been pretty brutal if we didn't get the cover. I feel like we're on the right side there. Again, Collingwood wins a close game versus Adelaide. We said it before. We said it last week. It happens every time, and it happened again. So
Yep. And next we've got Port Adelaide and Geelong. So what a dominant performance from Geelong. Pretty much it was actually, you know what, a decent contest in the first half. And then they just decided not to come back onto the field there. So yeah, absolute landslide in terms of goals. I think they kicked about 12 goals to 2 goals in the
yeah,
second half.
yeah, you could see when I was talking about it last week, man. I had no confidence whatsoever. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Port Adelaide, shut up, bro!" Like,
Yeah.
clearly, it was a trap there. I just played the numbers there. Sometimes the numbers are wrong, but I was
Yeah.
not watching that game because I was watching my Fremantle Dockers beat the Giants. Called here at half a point. We were clowned online when we said Fremantle will win, and then lo and behold, mate, the numbers don't lie. Fremantle will win outright. Yeah, huge win for us. Probably we are both on Freo, so the color was never in doubt.
Yeah.
Easiest pick of the week. We are really confident about it last week. Yeah, that's why you listen.
Yeah, we literally had someone say, "Oh, but it's at Energy Stadium, no way," and then he deleted his comment afterwards.
Get
So,
out of here, mate.
yeah, a bit funny there. Next up we had Bulldogs versus Essendon, and oh my God, did they struggle to score? They scored 9 points in the first half, which is disgusting.
Such a good watch,
Um,
man. Loved it.
yeah,
Great hate
yeah,
watch.
exactly, yeah. Bailey Dale with 49 touches, robbed
Yeah.
off his 50th. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I did. Bailey
Yeah,
Williams, was it?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Didn't give him his 50th touch, but
Yeah.
is what it is. But yeah, that was probably easiest cover.
Yep.
Um, there for the Bulldogs. Next up, we had Richmond and North Melbourne, which was a very tight game. You sort of saw North Melbourne come away with a little bit in the first, but like I said, Richmond did well to sort of fight back there.
Yeah, man. We see
And
with these bad team matchups, I think I said the week before with West Coast and Richmond, the
yeah,
dog seems to cover every time. It's happened so many times. Like even all of last year's games and the two we've seen this year, the dogs covered both times. So
yeah, yeah, beautiful, beautiful to watch. It was actually a really good contest.
yeah,
And then next up, Brisbane and Melbourne. Mate, the Demons. They're looking
great
pretty
call.
good. They're
Great
looking
call,
pretty good
mate.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Brisbane got off to a really good start in the first quarter, first half. And Melbourne did really well, sort of chip away at that lead and eventually come away with a win. I think I looked away at one point and I was like, yeah, we might have this covered. And then they just dominated
I
in
think
that
I
last
said
quarter.
I think I said last week like you could be like well in your way like Melbourne only down by a couple goals but then Brisbane like a brutal backdoor because of
Yeah.
Melbourne's bad fourth quarters but the exact opposite happened like that was the
Yeah.
score but then Melbourne ended up beating them in the end in the fourth quarter and blitzing them really so yeah
Yeah.
great call and they went and they get the upset win. I didn't think anyone picked that and if you picked that
Mm.
congratulations to you. But yeah, the points was never in doubt. Again, we see Brisbane at the Gabba. They do not cover at the Gabba.
Yeah.
West Coast St Kilda called here at half a point. We said West Coast we had their first win of the season. Cover was never in doubt. Highly emotional game. They came to play. We say it every time, man. We jump on St Kilda's underdogs. We fade them as favorites. Happened again last week. So really good week for us. So I'll run through our records. So I went 3-2. You went 4-1. I say every week, we just want to go 3-2 every week. Professional bettors go 56% against the spread every week. 3-2 is 60%. So not even pros go 3-2 every week. We're now both 28 and 22 ATS, which is funnily enough 56%. So we're at the pro
Yeah.
level. We were talking pre-show. We were like, oh, we're probably at the top of our game right now. We probably hit our peak. So maybe we regress ourselves, but let's try keep it rolling, man. So
Yeah.
going to some stats, dogs went 6-3 ATS last week, so really good week for the underdogs. Um, 3-6 straight up though. So we've seen the last couple of weeks dogs cover, don't end up necessarily winning those. So usually we see more upsets. I think I've said this all year. We're not seeing as many upsets as we have previously. But at least they're still covering, which is what we want. Um, Another stat we tracked last week, Thursday night dogs. 8 and 2 ATS now, including that Hawthorn one. If you had the nine, if you got the 9.5, do you know the two teams that didn't cover?
Carlton.
Both times it's Carlton versus Hawthorn and versus Collingwood. So
Yeah.
if you're not betting on Carlton,
Yeah.
Thursday night dogs are 8-0 ATS. So something to
I
keep in
love my
mind.
team, mate. Love my team.
Oh mate, just of course it's Carlton, of course. All right, so we jump into round 11 here. Without further ado, here. Opening up with an absolute blockbuster here. Geelong versus the Western Bulldogs Thursday night game at GMHBA. Last time we played, Geelong were 12.5 point favorites at home, and Western Bulldogs ended up blowing them out by 47. This time around, Geelong are 1.5 point favorites. Where are you going with this one, mate?
This is gonna be a good contest, mate. I'm looking forward to this one so much. I think everyone's talking about it as well because of the whole Bailey Smith drama. I think when you look at the way Geelong play, Bailey Smith is such a key cog to their midfield. And Bulldogs are going to throw everything at him to shut him down. So yeah, and I just really love the mix of the Western Bulldogs midfield. I think they can get a hold of the Cats pretty easily. So I'm jumping on the Bulldogs here. I'm jumping on the Bulldogs at plus 1.5. So yeah, what about you?
Mate, most obvious pick of the week, easiest pick of the week. Give me the Western Bulldogs to blow out the Geelong Cats here. This is so easy. Um, Great spot for the Bulldogs, terrible spot for the Cats. Yeah, we heard all the Bailey Smith stuff, mate. They do not care. Like this midfield is so cracked right now. I cannot believe. I get why the number is what it is. But mate, it's a bit fishy. Why is it at a pick? Like if you
Mm,
if you saw this number last week, the Bulldogs were catching 10.5, and I couldn't believe my eyes. So I was on this. I circled this one in the preseason. Western Bulldogs that we saw last year at GMHBA, they still won. It's not the fortress people perceive. Um, yeah, I think this is pretty easy. I'm hammering the alt lines as well. I think they win, and I think they win big here. We see when they beat teams, they really finish them off. So yeah, love the Western Bulldogs here. My favorite pick of the week. Absolutely love it. Um,
beautiful.
Moving on to Essendon versus Richmond. Dreamtime game, Friday night at the MCG. Last time they played Essendon were 40.5 point favorites, but only won by 12. This time around, they are 19.5 point favorites. Give me the Tigers to win outright here against the Bombers. Mate, fine, you can say that they won't win, but mate, I love the Tigers at plus 19.5 here. Like you're getting a really good number versus a team in Essendon that just does not cover against these bad teams. We saw with West Coast they didn't cover. We saw with North Melbourne they didn't cover. Like, yep, they do win those games. So if you don't like the Tigers to win, fine. That's fair enough. But they do not cover against his friends. 19.5, more than 3 goals versus this Tigers team. It's a feisty team. They're not going to give up. We love betting on this Tigers team because it's so easy to get backdoors as well. Like Essendon can be up by 5 goals in the third quarter, but I'm still not too concerned about the 19.5 point cover. So yeah, give me a Richmond plus 19.5 here. What do you think?
Give me Richmond plus 19.5, mate. I loved this pick straight off of that. When I saw Essendon at minus 19.5, I was like, this is the game that I have to jump on. I've been big on the Tigers, especially at the MCG. It's Dreamtime game as well, so it's obviously a big occasion. And yeah, I you said it perfectly. Like Essendon just can't cover against like bad teams. So yeah, Essendon, no, it's not Essendon, Richmond plus 19.5 for me, mate.
Yeah, we don't know what each of us are picking, so this is a surprise to me as you're saying it as well. So we're
Yeah.
aligned. This is good. We're thinking the same thing, which is good as well. Carlton GWS is the next up on our slate. Saturday afternoon game at Marvel. Last time they played Carlton was 6.5 point favorites at NG, but the Giants ended up winning by 12. I think Carlton were up big in the first there, and then Giants came all the way back. This time around, Carlton are 4.5 point favorites. Where are you going with this one?
This one was a tough one. I think when you look at both teams, they're really fighting for, September, a spot in September. And they both really want to bounce back from disappointing performances last week. So it's definitely a stay away from me. But I think if I was to jump on a team here, it would be Carlton at minus 4.5. But yeah, I just don't have much confidence in that pick.
Yeah, stay away from me as well, actually. It opened at, I think, 1.5, and I was really tempted to be on Carlton then. Obviously, a little bit of money's been coming on Carlton now, and it's all the way up to 4.5 now. Again, I still don't mind still playing Carlton. The thing I'm worried about is just Giants backs against the wall type thing. Last time this matchup was at Marvel, I think Carlton were short favourites as well and ended up winning and covering. But I felt like Giants were a bit of a public dog that time. This time around, I don't. It seems pretty even. Public on both sides, pros on both sides. So staying away from it. But Carlton are nothing for me here. Mate, covering all these spreads makes me kind of hungry.
Hmm. Should we order something from the cake sorority?
Ah, yes, the cake sorority, where every cake is a slice of sisterhood or brotherhood.
Whether you're celebrating a birthday, anniversary, or a glorious cover, the cake sorority has a perfect treat for every occasion.
Shoot them a message on Insta at the cake sorority and use the code half a point for 10% off your next order.
That's code half a point for 10% off your next order. Your spread is covered with the cake sorority. Yep.
Moving on to Hawthorn Brisbane, Saturday twilight game at the MCG. Last time they played, Brisbane were 15.5 point favorites at Marvel. Hawthorn ended up winning by 25 during their surge last year. This time around, Hawthorn are 10.5 point favorites. Give me Brisbane to win outright here, and gives me Brisbane plus 10.5, and give me Brisbane to win outright here. Absolutely love this pick, mate. Hawthorn are frauds, mate. I'm telling you now. I'm calling it now. I've bet Hawthorn to miss the eight. I've bet Hawthorn to miss the eight.
Oh,
I think they are
you,
absolute frauds. Like they are not the same team as last year. I've said it for weeks and weeks. Who have they beaten? Seriously, who have they beaten
yeah,
in the
yeah.
top eight? They haven't beaten anyone. Yeah, I just feel like 10.5 is a really big number. Like, you're getting 10.5 points with Brisbane, who coming off a couple of bad performances. I feel like they want to bounce back. Brisbane tends to play well against good teams. Like they beat the Bulldogs, they beat the Suns. So yeah, I love Brisbane in this spot. What do you think?
Yep, give me Brisbane plus 10.5, mate. What are we coughing each other's picks,
Oh,
mate?
mate.
Nah, I think you said it perfectly. Definitely a bounce back spot for Brisbane here, especially after last week. And then Hawthorn on the road, they sort of left it all out there, and couldn't come away with a win, especially in those conditions. So they're going to be a bit depleted, I reckon. And yeah, it's hard to back this Hawthorn team. Eh? You said it perfectly. And I think you called it at the start of the year as well. So yeah, I think Brisbane will come away here with the win.
Even if you do like Hawthorn, like last year you were catching a lot of points on their run. This time around, like the market's already adjusted to that stuff. So
Yeah,
they're 10.5 point favorites this time. So I know the record with the Hawthorn Brisbane matchup at the MCG, Brisbane haven't won in like ages or something. They don't need to win this game. They need to lose by less than 10 here. So I still like them to win. I'm sort of throwing it out the door. But yeah, love Brisbane here. Moving on to North Melbourne versus Collingwood. Saturday night game at Marvel. Last time they played, Collingwood were 41.5 point favorites. And only ended up winning by one, a miraculous comeback that was 53 down, I think. This time around, North Melbourne are 34.5 point dogs. Where you going with this one?
this one a stay away. I was tempted by North Melbourne. Very tempted. I pretty much put it in and out of my five about 10 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't back it up with much confidence. They've actually had close games for the past 4 weeks, which is really impressive. Regardless of the teams that they played. But yeah, I feel like, a team that is quite young, I think, they're bound to maybe regress a little bit. Especially against this Collingwood time. They just tear up teams, especially bad teams. So yeah. What about you?
Um, Another stay away from me. So I'm kind of scared of the same picks here. But yeah, North Melbourne are nothing here for me. Collingwood tends to play with their food a little bit with these bad teams, especially North Melbourne we saw last year as well. Um, I'm a Collingwood supporter. I I don't. I'm not going to call us frauds, but we're a little bit fraudulent in the fact that I don't think we're the best team in the AFL right now. Um, can we win the flag? Yes, but like we're just so good situationally and so well coached. We're not playing the best footy right now, so that's why I think we could win the flag. But I don't think we're the best team in the AFL right now.
Yeah.
So I feel like in the market week to week, we probably be getting a little bit of value fading this Collingwood side. But as I said, man, like we're so good situationally. So this is one of those games that it's a big spread. So definitely North Melbourne lean, but yeah, I'm staying away from it. All right. Moving on to Fremantle versus Port Adelaide. Saturday night game at Optus. Last time they played, Fremantle were 2.5 point favorites in round 24 last year, but Port Adelaide ended up winning by 20, knocking Freo out of the finals race. This time around, Fremantle are 18.5 point favorites. I feel like we have the same picks, mate. Give me Port Adelaide plus 18.5 here. Do you report as well?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, give me Port Adelaide plus 18.5 here. I said the last 2 weeks, it's the exact same spot. So 2 weeks ago, the Giants were in this spot, catching 3 goals versus Geelong in like a backs against the wall spot. Last week it was Fremantle in that spot against the Giants, 3 goals, backs against the wall. They end up winning outright. This time Port Adelaide's in that exact same spot on the road, 3 goal dogs. The numbers are all over Port Adelaide here. Do they win? I'm not sure. I'll probably still be on Freo money line. But yeah, absolutely love the plus 18.5 here for Port. Yeah, it looks like you're on the same.
Yeah, well, we already know I want
Oh
Port
my God.
Adelaide at plus
Yep.
18.5. So,
Yep.
yeah, two frauds going at it. But yeah, I think Port Adelaide can definitely cover this line. Especially after last week's performance, you sort of expect them to do so. But yeah, not much else to add on to your part. But yeah, it's a bit
Um,
scary how alike our
I
picks
know,
are.
I know. I don't know if it's good or bad. So a couple of things with the Horn Francis thing. Yep, he's out. We see after the first couple of weeks after a really good player gets injured, a team's able to cover. It's usually a few weeks later that it's supposed to hurt. I'm glad you brought up the frauds thing. So the fraud battles this year, the dog has covered every time. So if you think to Fremantle, Sydney, I feel like Sydney and Free are both frauds. Sydney covered and won as dogs, and Sydney versus Port Adelaide at the SCG. Port Adelaide won and covered as dogs as well. So this is the third fraud matchup. Going with the dog here.
Yeah.
Perfect, mate. So we're four for four on the same picks. I feel like the last one will be the same as well. Okay, moving on to Adelaide versus West Coast. Sunday afternoon game at the Adelaide Oval. Last time they played Adelaide were 27.5 point favourites, but ended up blowing them out by 99. This time around, Adelaide are 50.5 point favourites. So we're going with this one.
Stay away from me. I just thought it's a huge line. And yeah, I sort of lack the confidence to sort of jump on Adelaide here. And but also when you look at West Coast, they are a bad team, and you could pretty much expect Adelaide to blow them out as well by like 70 points. So yeah, I couldn't find much confidence in either side here, so it's a pass for me.
Yeah, stay away from me as well, but I'm really strongly into Adelaide here. Like, this is my sixth pick. This is the favourite I almost snuck in. There's one
Yeah.
dog I like a little bit more, though. So, yeah, give me Adelaide minus 50.5 here. This was at 45.5 at a book for the first like on Sunday. So it was all over that. It's at 50 across the board now. So West Coast coming off their first win of the season, highly emotional game. You're expecting a letdown here. Adelaide coming off a loss, coming back home, you expect them to sort of put it on here. West Coast are still a bad team, guys. Like, and Adelaide are really good. So let's not
Yeah.
overcomplicate too much. There are spots we jump on these big dogs. This is not one of them. So Adelaide or nothing here. I feel like you're getting probably a goal or two of value here as well. This number I feel like should be in the mid 50s. It's only at 50. So yeah, Adelaide for me, but staying away for the contest. Moving on to Melbourne versus Sydney Sunday afternoon game at the MCG. Last time they played was an opening round last year, so a while ago, where Sydney were 1.5 point favorites and ended up winning by 22. This time around, Melbourne are 2.5 point dogs. Give me Melbourne plus 2.5. We got the same picks. Do we have we have the same picks? Oh my God. Okay, fine. Yeah, but give me Melbourne plus 2.5 here. Cannot believe this number. I can't believe Melbourne aren't favourites. You're getting 2.5 versus a fraudulent Sydney side who came off a lucky win last week. This Melbourne team is playing really good footy right now. Yep, you could say they're coming off a really big win, and so they're expected to regress, but you're catching points here at home. Um, yeah, the market. I don't think the market's caught up to how good this Melbourne team is. And what's this respect for Sydney? Like Sydney is, I do not understand why they're favourites. Like, pretty shocked. It's not even a public dog. I don't think so. Yeah, absolutely love it here. Give me Melbourne plus 2.5.
Yep, love it, love it, love it.
Oh my God.
Melbourne plus 2.5 as well for me. Melbourne to win outright. No doubt about it. I think they're just being with confidence from last week as well. Like they're going to take that into this week, and I feel like it's going to be a pretty dominant performance. Sydney as well. They've got I think three people coming out. Two with suspension. One of them being Armadi, and when your forward line isn't able to kick goals and you lose your best forward, it's going to be tough. Yeah, and then they've lost Francis as well. So, yeah, it's going to be tough for them, which is why I'm going to jump on Melbourne at plus 2.5 here.
Yeah, very nice. The thing with this is that there's a world where Melbourne absolutely blows Sydney out of the water, so I'd be looking at those alternative lines as well.
Yeah.
So moving on to St Kilda versus Gold Coast Sunday afternoon game at Marvel. Last time they played Gold Coast were 2.5 point favourites, but St Kilda ended up winning by three. This time around, St Kilda are 12.5 point dogs. What's your read on this one?
Yeah, this was a tough one as well. On one hand, you sort of got St. Kilda who played pretty well as dogs, but haven't really proven that this year. We're sort of looking at more like at last year. And then we've got Gold Coast who just seems to cover all the time. It doesn't matter if they're home, doesn't matter if they're away, like they'll find a way to cover. So yeah, a bit scary this Gold Coast team. So it's a bit of a stay away for me. But if I had to jump on a team, probably St. Kilda. Without much confidence, probably yeah, definitely stay away. What
Yeah,
about you?
yeah, well said, mate. Like the numbers all say St Kilda, but I just can't get myself to do it. If it was this number, this matchup last year, we'd be all over St Kilda, right? Like
Mm,
Gold Coast couldn't cover away from home to save their lives, and St Kilda were crazy as underdogs. This week you've said, yeah, it has sort of regressed a little bit. St Kilda aren't as good as underdogs this year, and Gold Coast have proven that they can cover away from home. It is at Marvel, so I don't know. Last time they were at Marvel, they lost to the Tigers, so there's always that dimmer factor there. So yeah, definitely saying Kilda lean just out of principle, but couldn't get myself to do it. So stay
mm.
away for me. So we are that's our picks. So we both have the same picks this week. So I guess we'll have the same record. I guess I'll run through our picks. We got Western Bulldogs plus 1.5. It's my favorite pick. I absolutely love that one. We have Brisbane at plus 10.5, and then Port Adelaide at plus 18.5. Melbourne at plus 2.5, and what was the last one? Oh, Richmond at plus
Yeah.
19.5 there. So there's a five. If you want okay, fine. Free bonus six pick is Adelaide minus 50.5. Just so we're different. Give us a sixth one. What's your sixth one?
Okay, I'll give you a sixth one. I'm gonna say
Adelaide.
no. I'll say Carlton minus four and a
Okay,
half.
yeah, yeah, there you go. I don't mind that. That's my seventh pick. So,
Yeah.
yeah, awesome there. All right, that wraps up our round 11 best bets episode. Closing thoughts before we go 0 and 5.
Oh, we need a big week for the dogs, mate.
Yeah.
If the favorites cover here, we're in shambles. But yeah, let's just hope the dogs can get up. All we're looking for is a 3-2. So
Yeah, exactly right. We're just looking for a 3 and 2 week. Perfect. Absolutely love our picks, obviously. So check back in next week to see all the reaction, depending on how we go. And then it'll be our round 12 best bets episode, which is the start of all the buy rounds. All right. Thank you for everyone for joining. As a reminder, please leave a like on this video and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And until next time, see you later.